Welcome to Geopointe, a #1 mapping tool within the Salesforce AppExchange ecosystem. What we essentially bring to the table is we geographically enable your Salesforce data within the platform. So we are a native application. We live here as a map tab within Salesforce. And essentially when you click on that map tab, you'll see this screen. It's a Google map, and then we provide this tool panel along the left to provide insight and be able to run data sets or Salesforce reports, if you like, on top of the map. You can see here an example of this. So we have a number of shapes that we've built out which represent territories across the US. These are based upon the states which are inbuilt to the tool. You can make use of our library of shapes within Geopointe to quickly create these territories. And then on top of that, I've mapped all my accounts across the US and color-coded them by one of the fields within Salesforce. This time bucketing within when I've last met that customer, whether it be the last 30, 60, 90 days. Being able to filter, segment the data on top of the map is all inbuilt within the tool and provides a huge amount of power when it comes to geographic analysis of your Salesforce data. In addition to that example, we provide the ability to create trips and route plan ahead of time before you get to a specific region. So here you see an example where I've got a number of stops built out, and the tool actually proactively understands, based upon information it gets from Google, the drive times between those locations. Therefore, you can see in the tool panel, it's suggesting that we might be late for some of those meetings, and even conversely to that, we have a large gap between our first two appointments that we might be able to use more efficiently. And the tool can be used to do that. So we could run another data set on top of this to provide insight into who's close to those first two appointments, and maybe make an additional appointment to make better use of our time. In addition to planning routes within the desktop experience, no Salesforce app is complete without being fully integrated within the Salesforce platform. And here we are resident within Salesforce Mobile. We reside as a couple of different ways. One being what's nearby, so we can actually configure Lightning components to understand, based upon our current location taken from the GPS, we can understand what accounts, opportunities, leads are around that person, and obviously make decisions accordingly. But we also reside as a map component as well, which looks very similar to that within the desktop experience, and I have access to all the same kind of data sets. Lastly, those routes that I create are also available to me on the platform. So you can see here I have exactly the same route that I brought up on my desktop, and I also can go through my day and enact upon that route. So do things like viewing records, use applications on my mobile device to navigate to that location, and also check in and add activity to that record, all from the mobile experience. In addition to what I've shown you, another common use case is on the operational side of Salesforce. So building those territories out based upon counties is possible, and as well as other shapes within our library of shapes. Once we have that onto the map, we can actually drive data sets atop of it and gain further insight. So things like understanding how much revenue is being created across those territories, all within the tool. Really simple to do. Another common use case is understanding what's happening local to an area. So here I have an example whereby we are creating a search of data of both accounts and leads based upon a 40-minute drive time. So the scenario here is, if I wanted to create a customer appreciation event within Atlanta, who are my hottest leads, prospects within that area, as well as my best customers. And I'm using my heat map function, which is another inbuilt function to Geopointe, to understand who are my most favored customers, as well as my warmest and hot leads. And then we can take action upon that and pull in the associated contacts with those records to invite to an event. And I'm also using Google's inbuilt API to understand what restaurants are in that location as well. Potentially we could use that as a venue. Much of what I've shown you up until this point has been our core functionality for a number of years now, but more recently we've actually added the ability to live track both vehicles and assets within the field using hardware devices. So we can actually, through hardware devices that are plugged into vehicles or attached to assets, we can gain live information about their location and then pull that into Salesforce and use that to drive the map and drive the pins on the map. Once in Salesforce, it's like any other data. We can enact and use Salesforce's automation tools to potentially do things like assign cases for technicians, that sort of thing, can all be built out using the tool. In addition to just the location, we actually pull other information around vehicles as well. So you can see here a dashboard of some of the insights that we can gain from those vehicles. Things like speeding offences, vehicle insights like average fuel economy can also be pulled in as data points within Salesforce and used in various means. So I hope that provides you with a clear overview of the sort of power and functionality that we bring into Salesforce, specifically about geographic element of your Salesforce data. Obviously it's more extensible than that. We do have a published Apex API that customers can make use of to further customize the tool. Finally, if there is any further questions, we are always on hand to provide further guidance around how to utilize the tool within your customers, and also keep you up to speed as to where we're going with the tool as well. We've obviously covered a lot today during our video. However, we are barely scratching the surface in relation to what's available throughout Geopointe. We'd love for you to visit our website here at geopointe.com, where you'll find this features page which provides detail around all the component parts of Geopointe. In addition, we have a contact us link whereby you can reach out to the team, or alternatively you could reach out to your assigned Geopointe sales counterpart.